The metals and mining sector is undergoing significant change with the focus shifting to sustainability, safety and higher quality. Metinvest considers itself part of this transformation. We're here at the annual gathering in Davos to collect insights and ideas from CEOs from around the world. And today we're joined by Yuri Ryzhenkov, company CEO, to discuss how the metals and mining industry is evolving. Yuri, great to see you. Welcome to Davos.
Thank you.
We're here to talk about the metal and mining sector. It's a huge sector. Where does Metinvest sit in all that?
Well, Metinvest is an international metals and mining company with Ukrainian roots. Our main operations are in Ukraine, so we do iron ore mining and steel production there. And then we supply the products mainly to the European Union and the UK, and we have our processing subsidiaries in Italy, Bulgaria, Romania, and UK.
And in terms of being a modern mining company, in terms of sustainability and efficiency, environmental impact, how are you proceeding with that?
Well, that's the drive across the steel industry in the world right now. And efficiency is the main driver, obviously. But lately, decarbonization and environmental issues became very important and top of the agenda of any steel company, including Metinvest.
So does that make Metinvest like a conglomerate, a mining giant? What are you in the world stage?
We're rather a vertically integrated company. So we basically run production from iron ore excavation down to the finished product that goes into the bridges, buildings and other goods, consumer goods. And the idea is to be a bridge between Ukrainian resources and the European market. So we mine iron ore and do the first stage of production in Ukraine, and then we finish our production in the European Union and the UK.
And you've got a lot of operations all over Europe, as you said. How are you getting on with the push towards environmental impact and efficiency?
That's the push throughout the steel industry. It's not only in European Union, it's in Ukraine as well as throughout the world. So every steel and mining company, in that fact, thinks about decarbonization, thinks about efficiency. In our case, the efficiency starts with the iron ore mining and down to the final product being delivered to the customers. We have already a new project to build a new steel mill in Italy, in Piombino, Livorno. And that's going to be one of the most modern European steel mills as of now. Also, that is a blueprint for reconstructing our facilities back home in Ukraine. For obvious reasons, during the wartime, we cannot do a major reconstruction of those facilities, major investments in Ukraine. But we will use this pilot project in Italy as a blueprint for renovating our facilities in Ukraine.
I mean, that's a whole other element for your operation in terms of transformation is the conflict in your country. You've lost some blast furnaces in recent years. How is Metinvest adapting to all that geopolitics?
Well, in fact, we were probably the most damaged of the large industrials in Ukraine. We lost almost half of the company. Our two larger steel mills in Mariupol have been completely destroyed in 2022 at the beginning of the invasion. We had to rearrange the logistics. We had to adjust our sourcing mixes. We had to work with our personnel because they're basically under danger on daily basis when Ukraine gets bombed, and we're still operating our facilities there.
And what part are your shareholders playing in this?
Well, from the beginning of invasion, the decision of the shareholder was to support the Ukrainian armed forces and Ukraine as a country. In fact, he's spending most of his time, if not all of his time, in Kyiv right now by the side of the country and countrymen. And he established an initiative called Steel Front, Rinat Akhmetov Steel Front, where he unites all of his businesses to support the Ukrainian armed forces.
And you've still got a company to manage. You've still got a team of staff to keep motivated and comfortable.
Well, that's correct. On motivation, we're talking about their part in this defense initiative. But in terms of their development, you still have to work on that as well. And that's why we are running, first in Ukraine, private polytechnical university, which started, in fact, in 2022 and continues to work now. We run 19 bachelor degrees, 21 master's degrees, and 5 doctorates. And that makes sure that when the war is over, we have fully qualified personnel for the reconstruction of Ukraine.
I mean, are you concerned about a skills shortage?
you should always be concerned. It's a never-ending process. So especially in the steel industry, when you have to innovate, when you have to improve your quality on daily basis, if not every minute.
You've got two impacts there. You've got the impact of the loss of plant, the loss of operations. You've got the need intensified to defend yourself as a country as well as a business. How's that affecting the way your people in Metinvest?
We are, in fact, the largest donor to the Ukrainian armed forces. And altogether, in the last 4 years, for the support of the Ukrainian people and Ukrainian armed forces, Metinvest donated more than 200 million US. Half of it goes directly to our defense forces of Ukraine. And also, there are lots of things that we're doing at our enterprises for the army and for the protection of our armed forces. Like, for example, the underground hospitals, which we make out of steel, which can withstand a direct hit from a missile. We also produce defensive screens. We produce several other things like protective, that for the bulletproof, there's a place for the bulletproof armor plates. And on one hand, that's, in my view, great support for the Ukrainian armed forces. But on the other hand, it's also a very large motivational boost to our people, because they understand that even though they're not fighting on the front line, they're part of this defense effort, of this war effort, and they're an integral part of the defensive system of the country.
People think of steel as being part of that kind of dirty energy conglomerate of oil and gas and mining in general and so on. But steel is different in a way. It is a dirty industry. It is cleaning up, but also it's not a transition material by any means, is it?
Not really. Not really. In my view, steel is with us to stay for the foreseeable future. It's in every infrastructural project. It's in most of the consumer goods. And I think it's there to stay. But the important thing that we need to remember about steel is that steel, in fact, is the most recyclable product of all. It can be 100% recycled and used again and again and again in the future. The steel products, some of the steel products we're using today, initially the steel was produced 100 years ago, 150 years ago. So in this respect, steel could be an ideal product if we find a way, or when we introduce the way to produce steel with low carbon emissions. That could be the most sustainable product.
So steel gets better, higher expectations from the market. How are you adapting as that goes along?
We have to adapt, not only because we're in the steel industry, but because we're in highly volatile wartime environment in Ukraine. So we are very flexible in terms of supply chains. We are very flexible in terms of our operations. Our people are very resilient when it comes to responding to the external threats. And those are the positive aspects of war. We had to learn all of that because otherwise we wouldn't survive.
And in terms of the quality of the product that you produce, that's also changing and getting better.
You have to work on the quality of the product all the time. In the steel industry, there is no stopping. You cannot just stop and say, okay, this is the product that I will sell forever. No. The industry moves. Every player in the industry invents better ways to make those products and better quality to produce for the customers. So we have to innovate.
So earlier on, Yuri, you were telling me that you're confident about the mining sector and the steel sector as being a place where you were going to put your career. How confident are you about the future for the industry?
I think the future is still there. The future is still there. If you look at the deposits of iron ore in the world and in Ukraine, for that matter, it's enough for more than 100 years, even the discovered deposits. And as I mentioned before, steel is one of the most universal materials in the world, if not the most universal material in the world. So I think the applications that we will find for steel in the future are enormous. And the fact that there is a drive now in the steel industry to produce low carbon or even carbon neutral steel, that gives an opportunity for this product to be the product of the future.
Yuri, pleasure talking to you. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.
Across the global economy, metals and mining remain essential, but the way they are produced is changing. As expectations around sustainability, safety, and efficiency continue to rise, the sector is being reshaped through innovation and long-term thinking. Metinvest continues to expand, adding Romania and Italy to its current assets in Europe, UK, and of course Ukraine.